he's gone. I guess he finally faded away into nothingness like I thought. But what am I going to do for my 2-year anniversary? I can't tell him what to do. I guess I'm going to have to do this on my own. I know just what to do. Two years ago, I started filming on my channel, right here, at this very wall. It was for the Ice Bucket Challenge video, back when that was still a thing. Shortly after the Ice Bucket Challenge video went up, I kept that creative flow going, and I came down here and tried to do my first couple of attempts at movie reviews. However, the project seemed a little too much to take on right away. I oftentimes would write these big, huge scripts, and I would leave myself with no room to express myself creatively when I was speaking. I was so focused on getting the words word for word that I had written that I wasn't focusing on the actual review itself. It ended up being a long, awkward mess. But it's still on my channel if you want to check it out. You don't have to. It's not mandatory. It's not on the test. So, as many of you may know, this is my room. Now, 5 months after I had released my movie review from my basement, I came up here and I started to actually do what the bulk of my channel is now. It started right here in this very room. I had a camera that you're currently using to look at me, pointed at a TV monitor sitting on this desk. Had my laptop open right here, pointed at my face. It was as jerry-rigged as a setup as you could get. And that is how I recorded and uploaded my first episode of my Dark Souls Let's Play. Whether or not the quality of that content got better or worse, that's up for other people to decide. However, you could never deny I put a lot of time and effort, but it never would have really happened had I not gotten that first episode recorded. I had this little problem I kept running into. I didn't want to start recording anything until I felt like my setup was 100% complete. Ready to go, everything perfect. I just didn't feel like I wanted to start until I had everything ready. However, that's not the way to do it. If you want to do anything, you have to start, no matter how terrible you think you might be. Case in point, my first episode of Dark Souls is pretty terrible. I mean, I don't have any lights, additional lights giving to, lighting up my face or whatever. Now, my MacBook's camera is pretty good at picking up light, but even so, you can only get so good, so much. The thing that actually inspired me to finally get out there and try and make my mistakes and learn from them, hopefully, was going to PAX in 2015. Meeting all of my favorite YouTubers in person and actually being able to speak with them one-on-one. I was able to realize that they weren't these huge masters of filmmaking, and that they were just regular people, and that they, at one point or another, had sat down in front of a camera and made a very crappy video. And they said, you know what, I think this is good enough. Let's put it out there and see what other people think. And obviously their channels have since grown to beyond their own comprehension. So, 2 months after starting my Let's Plays, I came down here and I got my new setup. I got my brand new computer, I got my monitor here, I have my TV that is normally hooked up to my Xbox 360. And that's what I was doing for a while. It wasn't easy, but, I still make it work to this day. It's a little noisy down here. You can probably hear that cricket. There's always a cricket somewhere. But, you know, it gets pretty hot during the summer. It gets fairly cold during the winter, to the point where I can no longer really feel my hands. Hey, you do what you can. But at the end of the day, I do like this setup a lot. I've spent a lot of time here in my basement. That sounds really creepy, but it actually isn't. As you can see, these walls are kind of painted. It may be a little hard to see, but when me and my brother were really young, we actually painted the walls ourselves because my parents had this basement as our little play area. So, to make it more inviting, we decided to paint the gray walls and make them white. And, you know, we added some decorations around the walls, and, you know, our Legos were down here. We used to have a carpet on the floor. It was a nice little play area for us. So, I did spend a lot of time down here, and it just kind of made sense to bring my video games back down here. That, and I had this nice plain white unpainted wall behind me to use as a backdrop. This room is also quite special, as it is where I did most of the work for my one and only animation that has been released to my channel. The 15-second Five Nights at Freddy's 3 parody video. That took a long time. It doesn't look like it should have. It's 15 seconds. Keep looking at it. It's crudely drawn-ish. It doesn't look like it should have been as much effort as it was, but it was. Hence why my current animation I claim I'm still working on, is taking so long. Animation, especially the kind I learned to do, the frame-by-frame animation, is very, very time-consuming. And it's very hard. Hence why there's only been one animation on my channel. I have not tried to take on any animation projects until I at least finish the one I'm currently working on. But more on that in a bit. Let's head back downstairs. This wall is also significant, as I tried my very hardest to get another movie review segment off the ground here. My one and only Bickering Brothers segment. Me and my brother sat down here, and we tried our hardest to stay on topic, but we ended up distracting ourselves. We talked about a lot of interesting stuff, but at the end of the day, we didn't really focus on what we were trying to accomplish. It was just more of a, yeah, that sounds pretty good, let's talk about that. But, like, we didn't discuss anything beforehand. We just kind of watched the movie, and then we just jumped right in with our complaints about it. We didn't, like, plan out what we wanted to cover. It was just kind of like he thought he wanted to do this, I thought I wanted to do this. We both had these things we wanted to discuss together, but we didn't explain that to the other person. So, oftentimes, you know, my brother would be going on a rant, I would just be sitting there staring at him like, are you done? Can I talk? And then I'd go on my rant, and he'd be looking at me like, are you done? It was a jumbled mess. We really should have planned that out better. But I'm not canceling that segment yet. Who knows? Maybe someday my brother and I will return and do another Bickering Brothers. Finally, we come to my newest segment, and my attempt to finally get a movie review style review out consistently. Not just a 1 or 2 episode thing that disappears into the abyss, perceivably a failure. I'm of course talking about my new series, Critical Critiques, where I don't necessarily I usually focus on 1 or 2 movies, but I don't try to review the whole movie from start to finish, or review it with someone else, or it's mostly just me discussing movie-related topics that I want to discuss. And that's all it needs to be. Of course, if you look at my channel, that's not all I do. I've done so many Let's Plays, but that's not all I do. There have been some skits and some little updates, you know, sprinkled all throughout the years I've been doing YouTube. But I really have to say thank you guys for, you know, sticking with me for 2 years. That's a long time. It still blows my mind that 2 years ago, I was just, like, I wasn't even considering YouTube. I was just going into college. I didn't really even know what I wanted to do. And to this day, I can't even say I know what I want to do. All I know is that I'm going to continue doing YouTube for as long as I can. Because it is true, I don't get any money from YouTube. And I don't have very many views or subscribers, but that doesn't matter to me. I mean, it would be nice to be one of those, you know, 14 million or 42 million subscribed channels or whatever, but at the end of the day, that's not what matters to me. I use YouTube as a way to express myself and be creative. I get to release my opinions and ideas onto the world for anyone to view. Does people view it? No. But hey, it's out there. It's because I like expressing myself. I like having an outlet where I can finally speak my mind and at least feel like someone is going to listen. For all of you who are subscribed and have been basically since the beginning, my channel has not increased in subscribers or views in the last basically year. But for all of you who've stuck with me, thank you so much. I can't even begin to express that enough. I'd say there's 17 of you, but there's really not. 2 of those are my other channels that I had created originally, and I really shouldn't have subscribed to myself. That seems egotistical, thinking that maybe if my channel number was like a little bigger in the start, like if like, you know, people stumbled upon my channel and I had the 3, like, you know, the 2 or 3 subscribers instead of the 0, I felt like that may be making people more inclined to subscribe, but that's not really the point. So I'm thinking I might go back and undo it all and go back to my real number, which is probably 15. That's not the point of this video either. Thank you so much for watching. I mentioned my animation earlier. It's coming, I swear, this time for real. It's very, very hard. I have elaborated this on the past. It takes like 30 to 40 minutes to color one frame, and there are several thousand frames, and that's just one character. But that's not the reason it's taking so long. It's taking so long because I get overwhelmed with the amount of work that is necessary to complete this. I've probably put about 6 months worth of work into this over the course of 18. It's because right now, I'm currently not working on it at all. Because you do so much work at one time, and then you're like, I still have so much more work to do. It's not that hard. It really isn't. There are YouTubers that do much better animations than me, much faster. And it's because they have a passion for it. And I did. When I started, I had such passion for my animation. But over just so long of working on it, it's just kind of like I want it done, not because I want people to see it anymore, but because I don't want to look at it. I want it to be done so I don't have to think about it anymore. Because even when I'm like, you know, trying to sleep at night, it's in the back of my mind, you know, you gotta finish that animation. And I'm sitting there like, I know! But that is the update on my animation. I plan to start working on it again once the summer's over. I'm gonna go back to school, and I'm not gonna bring my, you know, I'm not gonna have any of my consoles or anything there to distract me, so I'm gonna have so much free time. I'm planning on at least working on the animation again. I don't know if I have no idea when it's going to be finished. I keep making these arbitrary dates of, oh, it's going to be finished then, it's going to be finished. I have no idea. I've worked on this project for so long, basically as long as I've been a YouTuber, and I have no idea when it's going to be done. Regardless of all of that, thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, There will be plenty of more content to be released in the future, and I really do appreciate all the time you have, stayed with me, and I really can't wait to see what we can do together. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!